We've been discussing the topic of vaccination quite a bit lately, and every year there are more than 30,000 cases of Lyme disease that are reported to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But in 2013, the CDC announced that the real number of annual infections is probably closer to 300,000 than it is to 30,000. And there was actually a Lyme disease vaccine that was in development. In 1998, SmithKline Beecham, which is now GlaxoSmithKline, developed a vaccine that was about 80% effective for at least a year after 3 doses against Lyme disease. But the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which counsels the CDC on vaccine-related matters, they were kind of lukewarm about the real benefits of the vaccine, the necessity of it, and they made a pretty weak recommendation to consider vaccination for high-risk persons, overlooking the fact that countless casual gardeners and hikers were being infected. Instead, they said that using protective clothing and insect repellents, despite very little evidence that that actually prevents tick bites, and even less evidence that people will regularly use them, was the preferred recommendation. Nevertheless, the vaccine did make it onto the market, and physicians were able to decide what to do with these kind of lukewarm, ambiguous recommendations. The manufacturer made an error of their own, which was to advertise the vaccine directly to the public, despite the fact that people mostly rely, in spite of all those ads you see, people mostly rely on their doctor's recommendation. The biggest blow to the marketing of the vaccine came when a group of volunteers that have been involved in the pre-licensure studies reported that they had developed arthritis after the vaccinations. Now, the rate of arthritis in the vaccinated volunteers was exactly the same as the rate of arthritis in the control group, but there were some Lyme disease activists which said clearly this vaccine causes arthritis. So let me say that to you again. I believe it was 121 people out of 1.4 million who were vaccinated developed arthritis. The same percentage of people who were in a control group that did not receive the vaccination also developed arthritis. However, causing arthritis was a main anti-vaccine marketing effort surrounding this vaccine. The anti-vaccine groups seized on this, and as we know, that kind of fell by the wayside. Now, I'm not pretending there were no questions about the vaccine. We had no more than 1 year in terms of we didn't know the long-term effects of the vaccine. There were only 1 year studies done. There was a question about really the effectiveness, 80% effectiveness. Okay, what does that really tell us? How does that fall compared to other vaccines? There's no doubt there were questions about it. But even if we go back, Lewis, to the 1990s, we see that the anti-vaccine in all cases crowd was already very influential then.
Right, which I was unaware of. I wonder, if they realize what life would be like without any vaccines at all, or if they even support that. But still, with this particular drug, if I were offered it and I were told that after 3 doses I'd be only protected for a year, knowing nothing about the long-term effects of it, me personally, I would decline it. But that's, of course, not to say that it's ineffective and pointless, useless, and or harmful.
Particularly if you consider that you're not someone who's regularly hiking in tall grasses, so on and so forth. There are people that do a lot of gardening. There are people for whom this would actually be worthwhile.